So this game is called Raging Loop. Now it is a visual novel. I wasn't sure how this would stream, but I thought I'd give it a try anyways. So it's probably not going to be the most action-packed thing if that's what you're looking for. It's supposed to be a pretty scary story. I've heard it starts off kind of slow, so we'll see. But it's supposed to be pretty good, so I thought I'd give it a try. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Yeah, and if you liked the video, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you think, okay? Alrighty, let me have a sip of coffee first before I start this. I'm probably gonna butcher the names, just a heads up. Alright. What am I doing here? Reackle? Beyond the pockets of mist and hazes of blood, at the end of the ever-repeating despair and grief.
人狼村の真実をどうかその目でご覧くださいませ。ペコリ。
So I can stream a lot of this game, but there is a point in the game where they actually do say they want you to stop streaming it. So, but it's towards the end, I guess. So, just in case we make it that far, I heard it wrong too, so probably won't make it there in this video, but I closed in on the side of the road and killed the engine. It was steeper than I thought. My bike was on the verge of giving out, so I pushed down and deployed the kickstand. Well, I'm lost. Maybe taking a ride down an unknown road with no sat-nav on me wasn't such a good idea. I'd just followed the road, so I figured I wouldn't get lost, but now I was in some deep shit. Nope, cool it. This isn't a big deal. I sighed, took note of the fact that I'd gotten lost in my pocket journal, and then pulled out a map. Suddenly, a rush of memories flitted into my mind. Okay, so now these key things, I guess you unlock them throughout the game. So until I get the key, I can't select this option. There are multiple endings as well, so that's exciting. Replay value is always nice, but see, like, it won't let me select this option because you have to go through and, like, find out certain information or find the keys, which is cool. I like that. Forget it. I somehow kept myself from remembering those things. After all, I'd gone on this trip to forget.
もうやめやめ目の前の現実を直視人生はシンプルつまりこの道のごとく真っ暗で道案内もなく進むか返すか考えることはそれだけ
Going back wasn't an option in this case, so I just moved forward. Still, I wanted to know where I was, at least, so I looked down at my map. It was all Greek to me. Last time I'd seen a sign, it was still light out, meaning that I'd gotten lost after the sun had set. Speaking of, tonight is supposed to be a strawberry eclipse, which is super cool. You can't see it in North America, but they are, I think, some site, if you Google it, they're streaming it there so you can watch it on the internet if you want to see what a strawberry eclipse looks like. It's pretty cool. Sure, it was my own fault for just guessing which intersections I'd been passing through. And that it'd taken me 2 hours to conclude I was lost. Crazy to think that just 2 hours of aimless driving got me almost completely surrounded by mountains. They extended as far as the eye could see, If you flipped this scenery upside down and shook it, it's unlikely even a shred of civilization would tumble out. Besides the asphalt below, my sweet ride, and the lamppost above, the first one in a while, mind you, there was nothing man-made here. The pocket map I had wasn't detailed enough for me to figure out where I was.
進むか。
I'd go as far as I could. Worst comes to worst, I could just camp at the side of the road. Although I'd be kind of worried about like some serial killer coming along though, even if I was in the country. Probably especially if I was in the country. 2 hours later, I deeply regretted ever thinking that. Basically, camping wasn't an option. This mountain road had no side to camp on. The dump truck I'd passed barely even fit on it. I'd also had my first close encounters with wild forest animals. I'd already seen 2 boars and 3 deer in those 2 hours alone. One of the deer had run parallel to my bike while intently staring at me, and I had no idea what to think of that. I'd felt like it could smell my fear, and did it to just make it worse. How dare the thing do that to a human? We're the kings of this planet, damn it. I'd have to remember to eat some venison once I came back to civilization. Anyway, camping out here was a bad idea. I'd end up as either roadkill or animal food. And yet, I didn't back out. Why? Because I'm a pretty warped sort of guy, and I won't pretend otherwise. That was actually the reason why my once comfortable relationship had gone awry, and why I'd gone on this stupid trip. Still, despite acknowledging that, I chose to keep moving forward. It wasn't like I'd find a place to stay if I went back. I was actually starting to think that this experience might make a good conversation piece sometime down the road. It was really getting late at this point. Where would these roads take me anyway? It'd probably be disappointing. Soon enough, the road became flat. I was out of the mountain pass. The forest remained abundant, though, so I didn't see much. Even so, the streetlights and signs were enough to make me feel I was again nearing civilization. Was streetlights the right expression for lights in a forest? I'd have to look that up. As the road grew less rugged, I realized just how exhausted I was. All this bike handling had left my hands really sore, too. I really had to rest. Suddenly, I saw something unexpected. Powerful, colorful, artificial lights. The convenience store? Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was next to an intersection between the road I was on and another, even thinner road that could possibly support only a single car. The sea of trees ended, giving room for the majestic child of our consumerist society. Yeah, that was an exaggeration. Apparently, even a damn store was a big deal for someone who just stepped out of the wild. It was called Fresh Mart. I'd seen several of them a few times during the day. It was probably a local franchise. The building didn't look all that old. At least the parking lot looked a lot smoother compared to the roads. This was a pretty weird place to build something like that, though. Was I close to a settlement, or did they actually make a profit off of lost travelers? I just asked that or something. A local shopkeeper was bound to know what was around these parts, not to mention I was thirsty. I was welcomed by a weird chime sound. It looked like a normal convenience store. There were goods on the shelves, a counter on the left, and... Whoa! The worker at the counter was so mean-looking it was scary. She was so imposing I wouldn't have doubted if someone told me she was in charge of some ladies' army corps. Was that supposed to be a greeting? It was so damn cold it actually gave me chills. Was this store shadier than it appeared? Was I about to be stupidly overcharged? Was this how this place made a profit? By taking advantage of lost people and basically beating them out of their money? Shit, that was scary. Clearly the Wonderland had only just begun. Woohoo! I sure was excited for the beating. I grew more nervous and less enthusiastic by the second. I braced myself, but she just looked down at a magazine in her hands. Oh, so she was just a slacker. Slightly disappointed, I walked around the store. It was about what you'd expect. There was a small shelf with energy drinks, followed by some stationeries, travel goods, sanitary stuff, etc. There were sweets that came with toys, a shelf of cup ramen and dried food, a fridge, a freezer. It all looked normal. It was late, so the daily dish and packed lunch section were completely empty. The only special thing about this place was a section full of unpacked vegetables you'd expect to see at a greengrocer's. Maybe all rural convenience stores are like this? I was slightly surprised by that, but there weren't any local fine foods or anything. So all in all, it was an unremarkable store. If you ignored the clerk anyway. I took a drink and brought it to the register. Yep, she really was the highlight of this place. What kind of clerk smokes while dealing with a customer? Yes, I was actually buying. She was the clerk, and I'd be her god, the customer.
126 yen.
She didn't even scan it. The exchange was at the mercy of the clerk. God is dead. Maybe I had to get mad at her?
ちょっといいですか？実は道に迷ってしまって。
I quickly turned meek.
町はどっちにあるでしょうか？
あっち。
いや、できれば地図とか。
ない。
Ah, ha, man, this woman.
いや、そんなはずはないでしょ。コンビニなんて大体道聞かれるから、地図は常備してるもんでしょ。
知らねえよ。ないもんはねえ。おとなしく来た道戻れよ。
もう数時間迷ってるもんで、これ以上はちょっと。
その辺の床で寝てけば。
She had to be joking.
いや、お気持ちだけでいいんで、道だけちゃんと教えていただけたら。
ああ、もう、せえな。合ってろ。
The clerk put out her smoke in the ashtray and went to the staff-only area. She came back in no time.
あったわ。
Found it. So she did have a map. Of course she did. Even more ill-tempered than usual, the clerk started giving an explanation.
これがこの店。で、十字路を北へ行け。しばらくしたら立教があっから渡れ。最初の分岐のとこに大岩があっからそこを右折して、あとは。
この道？
んだよ。
いや、この先何もなくないです。
書かれてねえだけで集落があんだよ。
そこ以外なら。
富士吉村まで行くには峠道を2時間。こっちなら30分で着く。
Mary. Fujiyoshi seemed to be a village. It didn't look too far away, but the road leading to it was a huge branching mess. Hey, Buddy. Come here. What you doing? Buddy bean. Hi. You gonna say hi to everybody? You gotta look that way. You're looking the wrong way. Camera's over there, buddy. No. It was clearly just a paved mountain pass. I'd had enough of those for one day. I'd probably just get lost again.
じゃあこっち行ってみます。ありがとうございます。
金
はい。
払ってねえだろ、茶のやつ。
ああ、じゃあ500円。なぜお釣りを無断で募金箱に入れるんですか？
小銭多いとうぜえだろ。
That was a hell of a line. Just keeping the money, the change. I casually thanked her, grabbed a plastic bottle of tea. She didn't give me a bag, by the way, and left the store. I drank the tea in the parking lot and looked up at the moon, obscured by clouds, but still bright enough to outshine the light of the convenience store. The clerk put me in a bad mood, though, so I didn't enjoy the sight. I threw the bottle into a nearby trash can and aggressively drove away. Following the directions, I crossed the overpass and arrived at the first fork in the road. The byway she told me about was really narrow. I probably wouldn't have noticed it were it not for the tall boulder, standing there like a roadside shrine for some traveler deity. Turning carefully, I got on the road. A minute later, I found myself in an even worse wilderness than before. A veil of dead leaves covered the ground, tall grass sided the path, and the sky above was blocked by overgrown shrubs, making it feel like I was passing a wooden tunnel. The road itself was a huge red flag. It was a wonder why I didn't just turn around. The exchange from before might have pissed me off more than I thought. Still, I really didn't expect the road to just end. It happened about 15 minutes in. The view ahead suddenly turned strangely dark, and a split second later, the bike tipped forward. Dun dun dun. I reflexively hit the brakes, but it was too late. I started going down a cliff. My bike tilted downwards, and its suspension was put to the greatest test yet, as we basically tumbled down to the bottom. The headlights suddenly shone on some dirt and grass. I knew that I'd been flung out of my seat. Stifling a scream, I tried to work some steering and brake magic to slow down without collapsing. But that was too big a task for a simple road bike. At the bottom of the cliff, it jumped higher than ever before. The suspension couldn't handle the impact, and I was launched into the air. A moment later, I heard a crash and felt an impact, after which came an unpleasant pain. An accident where I... excuse me, let me say that over again. An accident where I was flung out like that was a first for me. The launch was really something, too. I did a 360 in the air and fell on my back. My breathing stopped for a moment, and the pain was so bad, I thought all my bones had shattered. My face and limbs seemed pretty fine, at least, though I wasn't sure if that counted as a silver lining. There was grass under my hands. I felt it even through the gloves. That and the smell of green made it pretty clear what I had landed on. I pushed down and my hand sunk. The grass growth was pretty hefty. It was probably the reason why I'd come out relatively okay. Sure, my joints creaked when I stood up, but aside from that, I was fine. It was really dark, so I couldn't really confirm it, but I was pretty sure I wasn't even bleeding. My bike, however, wasn't nearly as lucky. It was lying on its side a short distance ahead. The engine was still on. The back wheel kept on turning, making an unpleasant frictative noise. Yep, it was busted. I walked up, killed the engine, and took the key. With the headlights off, I was surrounded by absolute darkness, so I just stood and waited until my eyes adjusted. I still couldn't see very clearly, but it looked like this I keep getting tongue-tied. Rewind. Okay. I still couldn't see very clearly, but it looked like this actually wasn't a cliff. I was still on a road. It just wasn't paved beyond this point. Obviously, a road bike stood no chance against an unpaved road. That woman actually tried to kill me. Zigzagging through the trees, I followed the narrow footpath deeper into the forest. I tried getting my bike up and running again, but instantly gave up. It was particularly stuck in mud, so there was the risk of it slipping and getting me into another accident. Maybe I had to turn around? The moment I considered that, I thought I saw a faint light ahead. If that woman wasn't lying, this road leads to a settlement. Was I close? I reached into my jacket's pocket, took out my phone, and opened it up. As you'd expect, I was out of range. I ran the light app and shone a light to see better. Though weak, it was better than nothing. At the very least, it helped me watch where I was going. I had no idea how long I'd been walking for, but sure enough, I could see a light beyond the shrubs. It was weaker than expected. A flashlight, perhaps? I could hear water, too. I must have been near a river.
すいません
I raised my voice.
すいません誰かいませんか
Whoops. Still declaring my presence, I walked forward. It was late at night. Were I to bump into someone here, the scare would probably take away a few years of our lives. That was why I figured it was best for both of us to let the other know we were here before that happened. However, there was no response. Could they not hear me over the rapids?
すいません
I shone my light ahead and realized I'd made it to an opening. Sure enough, there was a river, or a stream, rather. I could see slightly more than I had while surrounded by trees. Straining my eyes, I saw a rocky river beach and the shallows. The light I'd seen was on the other side. From what I could tell, it was either a lantern or a flashlight, and it was close to the ground. I didn't see any people, though. No one responded to my shouting either. I wasn't excited about it, but I decided to step into the water. The cold water quickly soaked my shoes and socks. I could have taken them off, but I figured that crossing a river barefoot at midnight was a bad idea. But man, was it cold. I put my phone back into my jacket. I needed both my hands free in case I fell. Not stopping or backing down, I walked toward the light. It suddenly became deeper. The water reached my knees now. That was too close for comfort. Feeling the bottom with my toes and balancing myself, I somehow avoided losing my footing. The flow was fiercer than I'd expected. If I slipped and fell, I'd probably be washed away. Uh-oh. It suddenly hit me I was doing something really weird, but it was too late to back down. Putting my hands on the boulders and carefully checking what I was stepping on, I gradually made it to the other side. Then, with an unpleasant wet sound in my every step, I walked up to the light. I could already see it clearly. Yep, it was a flashlight lying on the ground for some reason. There wasn't much space here. It was a narrow riverbank with a cliff right beside it. As you'd expect, I didn't see or sense anyone nearby. What the hell? Though old, the flashlight was working fine. The strength of the light told me the battery was pretty full. That meant that someone was actually using this tonight. Or rather, until just a few moments ago. That was the most logical conclusion. It obviously wasn't left here yesterday afternoon or evening. And yet, the user was nowhere in sight, and I was near a river. Did something bad happen? Did the flashlight's owner step into the stream and get swept away? I don't know why I find that so funny. It's not funny, because it happens, but it keeps making me laugh when he says that. I don't know why. That was the most likely and worst possible scenario. Oh man. However, the flashlight was left there practically buried in the pebbles. It didn't seem like someone placed it there to light things up. It was the dead of the night. There was no way you wouldn't notice dropping your flashlight when it was so dark. Right. The fact that a light source was left in a place like this was strange by itself. With that considered, what was going on here? What if someone heard my stupid shouting and decided to lure me in with a light so they could ambush me? That's probably where my mind would start going too. Either something bad happened to that person or someone's trying to trap me and murder me. Oh, that's too funny. I'd probably be thinking the same. Where would they attack from? Above?
こんばんは。
I heard a voice the moment I looked up. The rock cliff was actually made up of several boulders. There was a face peeking from behind one of them.
こんばんは。
あー、人だ。びっくりした。
That was my line.
悪いんだけど、それ取ってもらえます？
The voice was feminine. I finally realized what was going on.
落としたってわけですか。
I picked up the flashlight and pointed it at the source of the voice.
Yeah.
High-pitched voice, slender hands shielding the light. Sure enough, it was a young woman.
眩しいな。
お、失礼。ちなみにこっちはこういうものですが。
怖いです。下から照らさない。
実は当方道に迷っており。
だとすると割と究極的に迷ってますよ。
Yeah, thought as much.
ここって人里です？
難しい質問だな。
とりあえず助けてもらえないかと。
助ける？
雨露しのげて野生動物がいなければ何でもいいんで。
じゃあうち。
Oh, sorry. Standing on the boulders, the young woman made a pensive face. Want to come to my place? And that was the conclusion she'd arrived at. Her face told me she was 100% serious. Place. My place. By that, she surely meant a house. A settlement.
いいんです。頼んどいてなんですが、遠慮を忘れてすがりたい程度には切羽詰まってるんですが。
え？男として？
ええ。いや違う。一個の生命として。数時間迷った挙句、バイクでこけて心身ともに限界ってわけです。
あらら。なら見捨てるのもどうよって感じじゃないです？一個の生命として。
And so, I was saved. Oh, the beauty of living beings looking out for each other. Yay!
いいです？
ん？
ここ、一人じゃ登れないでしょ？
True. Honestly, I didn't even realize I'd have to. Meeting another person filled me with relief, which was followed by a sudden wave of fatigue. It wasn't crippling, though. She extended her left hand, so I grabbed it with my own left. Her slender fingers were stronger than expected. The girl's name was Chimi Serizawa. I asked if she was related to the Shinsengami guy, but she said that her family just adopted the name at some point in the Meiji period. She was a 21-year-old who went to a college far away from here. This was her hometown, and she was spending her post-exams vacation here. We chatted about stuff like that when she led me out of the rocky ravine. There was actually a proper path, so the rock climbing was pretty pointless, but I was too focused on my footing to comment. She told me about herself as soon as we reached solid ground.
ちなみにそちらは？
名前は房石春明。東京で大学院生やってます。
あ、じゃあちょっと年上。
24だから芹沢さんと3つ違いかな。でもまあ同世代でしょ。
ちえみでいいですよ。敬語とかもいらないです。
じゃあ僕も呼び捨てタメ口がいいな。
ですか？
女の子に親しくされてるみたいで嬉しいからね。
なるほど。実は私も堅苦しいの苦手なんで、じゃあ遠慮なく。
どうぞどうぞ。ちなみにまだ結構遠い？
そうでもないかな。もう5分くらい頑張りましょい。
What a lively girl. You could tell she was used to people.
ただ、足元に気をつけて、明かりだけ見て。
何かあるの？
この辺、石ころだらけで危ないんだ。
The moment she said that, I'd stumbled on a rock too big to be called a pebble.
あと、今夜はずいぶん暗いしね。
I couldn't even see the moon anymore. Nodding in agreement, I focused on following the light in her hand.
ちょっと待っててもらえます？着替えちゃうんで。
And so I did just that. Given this was a mountain settlement, I'd expected some old wooden house, but she actually lived in an apartment block. It was too dark to get a good look at it. All I could see were the cheap-looking walls like you'd expect from some old boarding house for students. Also, she lived on the second floor in room 202. I'd heard some raindrops as we were climbing the rusty stairs, but now it was really pouring. Between that, the darkness, and the large tree right next to the building, it was nearly impossible to see what was going on outside. It felt like I was all alone in a world of nothing but the walls, the door, and the fluorescent lamp above my head. It made me feel somewhat helpless. I distracted myself from that by imagining her changing. Creeper! Eventually, the door opened up.
お待たせ。上がって。
All smiles, she showed herself, now wearing sports clothes. This was kinda exciting.
なんにもないでしょ。
何にもないね。
でも冷蔵庫の中は、ほら。
素晴らしい。
I didn't mean to cut her off.
飲みますか。
やったぜ。
Yeah, her place really was empty. It was just a small room with a low table in the middle, a fridge near the door, and a large duffel bag deeper in. There were 2 old-looking bookshelves too, but they were completely empty. I wasn't bothered one bit though. Any girl's room was a wonderland to me.
じゃあ、大変だった春明さんに、お疲れ様。
地獄で出会った仏様に乾杯。
Kanpai! We opened up our cans, knocked them together, and downed them. Hey, it was actually good. The pleasant bitterness and the refreshing carbonation made for a good combo.
おいしい。このためだけに生きてる。
その若さでそれはないでしょ
言い過ぎた。愛や将来にもまだ絶望してません。
う。ところが就活という影が迫る。
いややめて。せっかくのビールがまずくなる。
She laughed and took a huge sip. It was pretty clear she could hold her drink. That aside, something really bothered me.
お誘いに乗っておいてなんだけど。
何？
Her cheeks were already red. Maybe she didn't handle her liquor as well as I thought. She had a well-featured face, and I didn't think it was wrong to consider her beautiful. Sure, her clothes weren't the least bit sexy, but I could tell she had some makeup on.
僕は完全に正体不明の自称迷い人だよね。
そうね。
君は年頃の女性、今は深夜。ワンルームの密室で男と二人っきり。その上アルコールまで入ってしまった。
おお。
What are you
身の
trying
危
to
険
say?
を感じたりとかは？
She kept gulping. She kept gulping the drink even as she formulated a response. The very fact that I could just watch her do that made this a pretty risky situation, and yet
あんまりないかな。
それは。
芹沢知恵みくい。
イエーイ。
問題。ふと気づいたら
yay!
にもかかわらず芹沢千恵美は特に身の危険を感じない。なぜでしょう？
Like his response. Yay! What a fun girl. This only made me like her more, increasing the danger even further.
質問 OK？
どうぞ。
僕のことがいい人っぽいという答えはなしでいいかな。
悪い人に見えるってわけじゃないけど、まあなしかな。女の子慣れしてそうだし。
Winky face. That unintentional compliment showed that she actually did see me as a potential danger.
考えられる回答は大きく2つ。想定外だが何が起きても問題ない。もしくは想定通り。
ふむ？
前者はいろいろ考えられるかな。例えば ちえみちゃんが何かやけっぱちになっていてどうにでもなれって場合、あるいは十分な自衛手段がある、実は護身術の達人で僕なんか軽く乗せるとかね。
Number 2.
ああ、論理的。春秋さん理系だね。
まあそうかな。一方で後者、つまりこの状況が君の想定通りって場合は、
例えば私がエロエロですとか。
Wow, talk about not mincing words.
酔っ払ってきたな。さて、他には何があるでしょう。
Indeed. What other reason could a woman have to bring a stranger to her home? It would surely be something non-standard, like...
僕の存在が君の利益になる例。例えばアリバイ工作。君がここにいたと後日僕が証言することで君が有利になる。
おー、ちゃっかり利用するわけだ。
あるいはちえみちゃんが恐るべき殺人鬼で僕を酔っ払わせてぶっ殺す。
はあ、ヤマンバいいね。ブッシュブッシュ殺しちゃう。
Splosh, splosh. What kind of sound effect was that?
ちなみに
Hey, I try, okay? I try.
一つあるよ。
あれ抜けて。
うん、私がとってもいい人で春秋さんを助けてあげたい一心だっていうケース。
Was it time for me to be ashamed of my filthy mind?
いやでもそれで自分が襲われるかもって考えたら。
おー、襲うって言っちゃったよこの人。
一般論ね。
She stopped talking and turned red. It was so cute I thought she was actually doing it on purpose. Man, was she drunk. And we were just on our second cans.
じゃあこういうのは止めないともっとひどいことになる。それはさすがに忍びないなとか。
ごめん、もうちょっと詳しく。
この辺りには怖い野生動物が出ます。明日にはこの人はズタズタに引き裂かれてしまうかもしれません。このまま見捨てたらとても寝覚めの悪い思いをするかもしれません。それならまあ止めてあげようかしら。
なるほど、リスクと善意を天秤にかけるってわけか。これは想定外。
想定外か。この人だいぶ悪い人なんじゃないかって気がしてきたな。
そう？
だって善意を選択肢に入れる前に殺人鬼とかアリバイとかエロエロとかさ。
Oh man.
エロエロは君が言い出したんでしょうが。
そうだったっけ？で、答えは？
これって単なるバカ話じゃないの？
正解者には素敵なプレゼント。不正解者はブッシュブッシュ殺します。
Sploosh, sploosh. Seriously? Oh goodness. I'm gonna go with feel guilty if you let me die.
ピンポーン、正
Ding
解
ding
です。
ding. Oh, cool.
まあ実際この辺危ないしね。鹿にイノシシに野犬にクマ。
鹿とイノシシは実際見たけど、クマもいるの？
うん、ツキノワだけどね。あんまり多くは
Moon
ない。
bears.
昔襲われた人もいたし、ちょっと外は危ない。
なんてワイルドな。
でも本当にヤバい動物は他にいるけどね。
なんだろう、クマよりヤバい動物？
ヘビ、サル、カラス、クモ。
Huh? Were they venomous or something? I really doubted that. Those really didn't seem worse than bears.
あとそうか
Also, wolves.
日本には狼はいないでしょう。
いるかもよこんな田舎には。まあ理由がどうあれ
Oh, she smiled and drank out of the third can. Sorry, guys.
自分が狼になっちゃうのかな。
Speaking of wolves, whatever the reason you ended up coming into a pretty girl's home, won't you become a wolf yourself?
やめとく。
紳士もう一本あげちゃ
I wasn't too sure, but I felt like she dodged the subject. Perhaps I wasn't being cautious enough. But then again, I'd been wandering aimlessly for a long time by now. I had enough recklessness in me to enjoy sharing a drink with a cute, if shady girl. Saving. The last thing I remembered was our little "when was the last time you pissed yourself while sleeping" talk. I had to tell her about the time I got so drunk I wet my pants in the middle of the boarding house. She'd laughed so hard she started frothing at the mouth and passed out. I woke up with a splitting headache. Oh man. Morning already? Light poured in through the frosted window. I pulled out my phone and checked the time. 7 in the morning. I'd gone to sleep somewhere between 2 and 3, which probably wasn't quite enough sleep. At least I didn't wake up to some horror movie scene. The building wasn't in ruins and the girl wasn't actually a skeleton. Though, in a way, this might have been worse. She was spread out on the floor of the other side of the mini table. Her breathing was mixed with some weird gurgling sounds. I hesitantly looked at her. The saint that saved me from the hell I was in last night had puked in the middle of her sleep. Ooh. What was I supposed to do here? As a guest, I couldn't really be too harsh on her.
ちえみちゃん
She wasn't waking up. Well, I'd just do what little I could. There, that should be good enough. I'd used tons of toilet paper to clean up her mess and flush it down the toilet. It left a stain on the floor, but it was dirty to begin with, so whatever. I'd even wet a towel and cleaned her face. Even then, she showed no signs of waking up. Some of it was on her hair and clothes, but I figured it was best if she took care of that herself.
ちえみちゃん
朝
The first hint of consciousness so far today.
ちょっと出ておくから
Without waiting for a response, I walked to the entrance. She'd have to take a shower and change and all that, so I'd kill time outside. I stepped into my still damp shoes with my bare feet. My socks were in the washing machine with the towel she gave me to wipe my legs, and reached for the doorknob. I opened the door and was greeted by a gust of wind. The raindrops gathered on the leaves of the tree next to the building blew right into my face, making me grimace. The rain from last night was already over. The sky was pretty clear, but despite that, I noticed the visibility of my surroundings was poor. The building was surrounded by leaves. The old structure was basically blurred in a forest of trees about as tall as itself. There were branches poking into the exposed hallway. It almost felt like they'd reach out and grab me if I wasn't careful. I kind of felt like I was in an overgrown ruin. I turned around and saw the room and Chimi just as I left them. Yep, it was all real. I closed the door. There were other rooms in this building, which made me wonder if they were occupied. Hell, I wondered the same thing about the area in general. I pushed the branches aside to see if there were other buildings nearby. Suddenly, something entered my vision. It didn't feel right. Something that shouldn't have been there. The leaves I moved revealed a woman clad in curious clothing. The moment I recognized her as such, she opened her closed eyes. Did our eyes meet? Another strong wind. I shielded my face from the spray of the raindrops. When I looked outside again, the woman was nowhere in sight. Was that an illusion? If not, then what? What kind of place was this? It could have been a real Hicksville, a marginal village, a bunch of actual ruins, or an illegal settlement. I'd had some theories, but I set them aside for now. It seemed like a place worth exploring regardless. I went down the stairs and found no sign of the woman, or anyone else for that matter. A short distance away from the building, I turned around, and sure enough, it was pretty much covered in trees. I went to the place where I saw the woman. There were footprints in the grass here. Maybe I'd find her if I followed them. No, don't do it. They led me to an open area. It was unused, but it looked like someone was trying to do something with it. Was it supposed to be a construction site? Even if it was clearly abandoned. There were large rocks and lots of sediment near a prefab. From what I could tell, there had been a giant landslide, which forced them to stop construction. The fact that plant growth was still minimal meant that it had happened fairly recently. The footprints seemed to be going down the hill next to the site. Dun dun dun. Following them, I finally saw something that could be called civilization. There was a set of paddy fields with houses nearby. So this actually was a settlement. What a relief. I decided to keep following the footprints and approach the settlement. I came across another unpaved path that was clearly used by people and cars. It was lined with weeds and bushes reaching up to my waist. It was home to caterpillars and grasshoppers, among other things. Spiders were no exception. There is no shortage of insects there, so it was a good place for a net. I wasn't particularly scared of spiders, but I didn't like them either. At least they were just harmless orb weavers. Regardless, I avoided these bushes just in case and followed the path like the good city boy I was. There was a large boulder surrounded by grass. It was strangely tall, making it look like it was put there by people. On its dewy surface, there was a gray tree frog, ready to go after the many insects scattered about. I walked a bit further and came across a house with a small field nearby. The field's location made it safe to assume it belonged to the inhabitants. If there were inhabitants, anyway. I couldn't see anyone, and just like always, there was grass everywhere. There was another boulder standing next to the house. This one was obviously placed there by a human hand. What was the point? Was it a monument or something? The footprints continued into the field. The wet mud on the field was full of a small, young, but healthy-looking rice plants. If you ignored the standing boulders in the area, the place looked like a normal farming village. I was both relieved and worried at the same time. From what I saw, there weren't any other buildings besides the ones in the settlement. Everything beyond was just mountains, meaning that this place was completely isolated. And I was a complete outsider. There was no way things would go well if I ran into a random local. I belatedly crouched to hide myself a bit. It was probably best for me to go back. Chimi might have been looking for me. Suddenly, I heard a sound. I looked for its source and found a speaker on a wooden utility pole in the middle of a small plaza. A morning broadcast? I'd never heard this tune before. It was cheerful at first, but had some parts that seemed really dark. I found it unsettling. Perplexed, I stopped walking, and what happened next made me hide myself. There was a person in the area densely surrounded by houses, but they weren't normal. Fuck, that's made me jump. What was with that appearance? What was that on her face? Though I was a fair distance away, I could see an old woman with some sort of cloth over her face shakily walk out from between the buildings. Oddly enough, there were boulders even there. But even weirder was the fact that she walked up to one of them, lightly joined her hands, and bowed her head before it, her face still hidden. Then, all was silent. It actually looked like she was revering it. To me, it looked like she was praying to it. This was bad, really bad. I'd wandered into a settlement with a unique culture, to put it lightly. Forget causing trouble. An outsider like me could get killed here. I just turned around and ran for it. I dashed up the hill, past the house, through the construction site, until I arrived back at the apartment building. Chimi looked like a relatively reasonable person. Maybe she could tell me what was up. It just hit me that the way she described this place was somewhat weird. She basically said it wasn't normal.
あるいは、ちえみちゃんが恐るべき殺人鬼で、僕を酔っ払わせてぶっ殺す。
はあ、ヤマンバ。いいね。ブッシュブッシュ殺しちゃう。
No way. What if she was actually the bait they used to lure outsiders here? Let's see if I can save. Oh, that's the autosave? Oh, I don't wanna. Oh, see? So you can see the branching story path. That's cool. Alrighty, guys. Well, I'm gonna end it here. So again, let me know what you think of this game in the comments and of my video in the comments below. I hope you all I still can't talk. Are enjoying it so far. I think that's it. But yeah, if you liked it, remember to hit like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you all soon. You all have a good rest of your day, and take care. Bye. Have a good one.